What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So guys, as you guys see in the title, it's going to be basically, this video is about top 10 things that an LVAD patient would need. Now, you'll see me hopping around here, looking around, because a lot of my things are kind of around me. And I just want to, keep it going. Now, first off, I want to start the video off with just obviously naming the no-brainers here. I don't want to be obvious and give you the things that everybody knows you need to have as an LVAD patient, but I do want to help you guys out. Alright, so the obvious things would be dressing, having backup dressings, backup batteries. That's obviously either thing that you must have, nothing new. Batteries in general, a return to flow meter, and a blood pressure cuff. So that's the obvious thing, and I'm not really going to harp on those because you know that already. So these are things that that you don't know that you might need and might make life a little bit easier. You just probably aren't thinking about it. So let's start off with the first thing, alright? So the first thing would be, obviously, I've talked about these before, and these are basically what they're called is, what are they called? Like what are they? Shower protection, basically. So basically, it's called Aqua ultimately, is the brand. And what that does is that kind of, it keeps the site nice and dry when you're in the shower. This is the 10 by 12 inch, and this covers a lot of space. Your site itself is probably like that big, if not that big, so it's not 10 by 12. But this does overcompensate. So if they do ask, you may not need 10 by 12. A little bit smaller is fine, but this does cover a lot of space. If you don't have, if they're charging you money, I don't know how your insurance is, you can go to the store and buy saran wrap and just wrap around the body, that site, and that's pretty much it. It's very helpful and very cheap and affordable. I mean, obviously saran wrap is a long roll, and it covers a lot of space, and it lasts a long time. So that's a big help. Alright, so the next thing we're going to get into, and that's a pill holder. Alright, so this is number 2 on our list here, a pill holder. Now, this is for anybody realistically if you take a lot of medication, but LVAD patients take a lot of medication. We probably can take close to 8 to 10 pills a day. So it could be very hard to keep up with these things. I know for a fact, whenever I'm traveling and things like that, carrying all these pills is a pain in the butt. So having these is very cool. You have it already pre-filled out and everything, and you don't have to go through trying to open up a bunch of pills and doing that. You can do that once a week, fill out a week. They have some that are like 30 days. They have some. This is a 7-day period here, and it's ultimately really something cool to have. You can get them very cheap. You can get them anywhere. Realistically, they're not hard to find. I would totally recommend that. You can get this on Amazon. All these things will kind of be down in the description. Some of the things you'll have to go to your actual insurance provider, and I can't really help you out with that. So this is where you would go there, okay? Also along the lines of this guy is going to be these bags. Alright, now not your LVAD bag, but is the actual pill bag. So whenever you're traveling, it's very helpful. So if you could pre-fill these out, that's great. But let's say you have to go somewhere and you're going to be gone for more than 7 days. So these pill holders have little slots in there that they can hold these little pill bottles. Like this one, for example, they can hold it, and you'll have it all organized, and then whenever you go to the TSA or wherever, they open that up and you're good to go. Has a lot of these come up with a little lock. My wife bought me this one, and I think it's great. It makes everything a little bit simpler for myself. I totally recommend getting one of these. So realistically, this would be our number 2. This is still along the lines of this. I'm not gonna double dip. All right, so this is basically the same stuff. All right, very helpful. All right, number 3. Number 3 is probably something you've never noticed. You probably never heard of. I didn't even know it existed until I was, getting real difficult to go to my doctor appointments all the time, and they were charged every time when you do your every time you go, every week, if you're an LVAD patient, you're gonna have to get your blood drawn. I've mentioned that plenty of times. You gotta get it weekly so they can check your INR and check your other numbers to make sure everything is well. Alright, so that was a pain in the butt because my insurance was charging me like $3 to $5 a visit. So over time, it's like 20 bucks a month. Tack that on by 12, that's what, $240 a year just in blood draws. So it was a pain in the butt. So it was costing me a lot of money. And so what my doctor mentioned was something called a CoaguCheck. That's the name of the brand, okay? So basically CoaguCheck is the brand. There we go. Hopefully my face is in focus there. CoaguCheck. And then basically this is pretty much a meter, a blood meter. Very similar for most diabetics. You just poke your finger and then you can check your blood sugar. Well, in this case, you're actually checking your INR. It's an INR reader. So once you do, just like a diabetes blood strip meter, you poke yourself with this guy here. Excuse me. There we go. This guy, a little pen here, and basically you poke yourself like that. That's how it goes. That right there, a little tip goes into your finger. It pokes it, gives it a nice little drop of blood. You squeeze your finger and you put it onto an actual a test strip, and then that strip is obviously plugged into this machine, and then you can, once it'll read like maybe in 20 seconds, not even 10 seconds, it'll read, it'll tell you exactly what your INR is, so you know, and then you can log that down in your book, whatever. And then what you do is you hit send, and what that will do is it'll send it to your doctor. So it's pretty neat, and I would totally recommend that. So that's a pretty neat little tool. Saves you time, saves you money, and that's pretty much it. That's a pretty cool little thing. I think that's the coolest thing on this list so far. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna need, and I briefly mentioned that, and that's gonna be a logbook. You can use a logbook like Excel spreadsheet. I'm very techie. You can use an Excel spreadsheet, you can use a notebook, and log all these things. I would recommend it. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I miss a lot. I don't log it all the time, but I do check it periodically to see exactly what I am. Doctors do like to see these log numbers, to see you writing it down, you doing your part. They do also check all these things in-house, in clinic, but they still ask for your numbers. So always get those things, have a logbook prepared so you can write those things out. You're gonna need your return to flow, you're gonna need your actual blood pressure, actually not your blood pressure, return to flow, you're gonna need to check your pump, your monitor, and make sure all those numbers are good and see exactly what the patterns are, and then see if anything's weird. Okay, you want to know your numbers, so if anything does happen weird with your monitor, you know that, hey, my pump usually runs at 4,500 RPMs, and then all of a sudden lately it's been running at 2,500. You know what I mean? I'm just giving random numbers, but obviously you know your pattern. If you don't know your pattern, then obviously something, you know, whenever you talk to your doctor, they won't even know what to check for. Okay? So that's that. So the next thing, I'm going to show you kind of the B-roll here. As you guys can see, this is actually a handheld shower head. You can get these at Lowe's. I paid $75 for mine, and this was very helpful. This basically allows you to kind of target around your body and get specific limbs without touching water touching your site. Normally, whenever you have a normal shower, it's just it's coming down from the top down on your head, and you can't kind of do that. When I go to hotels, it's a pain in the butt. If they don't have this, I gotta use a cup and kind of pour it on me in different areas, just like if I was in a sponge bath. So having these in the house is very helpful. I would totally recommend getting them. Like I said, 75 bucks. You can probably get them cheaper if you know somewhere else, but I paid 75 bucks, and it has like 5 different adjustable pressures and types of things, so I'm very accurate with it. Sometimes it's so good that I don't even need to wrap myself, and I can just kind of get around where I need to get, and then I'm very careful around my site. The next thing, all right, and that is an app. So we're gonna go over 2 apps that I think are very important, very helpful to have, that you probably never even knew that happened, never knew that they had. So the first one is called Round. I don't get paid by these companies at all. This is just stuff that I looked up myself because every time I went to a doctor, the doctor asked me, what medications are you taking? Then I'd get scolded because I didn't have my list of medications. So what I started doing was writing them down. Well, I lose the paper. It's thumb. So what do I always have with me? I always have my cell phone. So what did I do? I went ahead and I found this app. It's called Round. Round, as you guys can see on the screen, allows you to actually record all your medications and put down when they're taken, the dosages, and things like that. So, and it'll also let you know, hey, it's time to take your medication. Very helpful. It's a free app. I don't have to pay anything. You just sign in, and you can use your Google, you can use your Facebook, you can use your own email address. It doesn't matter. It's just going to keep track of your medications, and very helpful. It's free, and I would totally recommend it. And then also you can actually export the list and put it to an Excel spreadsheet and hand it off to whoever you need to. Always good to have, because when you go to a doctor and they ask for your medications, if you're, you have your heart doctor and then you go to your primary, they need to be in sync, and doctors don't always talk to each other. So that's something I kind of wanted to point out. All right, the next app is called MyFitnessPal. There's a lot of different fitness apps out there, and now I say fitness, I'm not saying for workout purposes. I'm looking more for dieting. And as you guys can see in this video right here, it's basically scrolling through, and you can pick what you ate for the day. And you can pick your goals. If you want to eat 2,000 calories a day or 1,500 calories a day, and you want to watch your not your fluid intake, but your food intake. Very helpful stuff. I would totally recommend this app itself. There's different ones. Like I said, I don't get paid for this stuff. This is just because what I've looked up and what I've used in the past when I was using powerlifting and bodybuilding macros. But this is very important. You do need to track what you eat, kind of get an understanding. You don't want to, once you get a pattern of it, you understand what you're eating, that might be great. But in the meantime, when you're starting off, this is very important to have, so you can kind of get into a pattern and you understand mentally how much food you're eating and what roughly, well, I know that burger's going to be 40 carbs and it's going to have 20 or 40 grams of protein. You know those things after a while. So up until that meantime, get that knowledge and understanding your pattern and of carbs and proteins and fats and things like that. You also obviously, we're heart patients, you need to track your sodium. You need to make sure you're not going over top with your sodium. Look into that. It's very important. The next important thing, and that's a scale. All right, so every morning you need to wake up and check your weight, okay? It's very important. You can get a cheap one, you can get a whatever. It doesn't have to be completely to the ounce accurate, like these digital ones that they have out there, but I would totally recommend getting one. Very good to check. You don't want your weight fluctuating, especially if you're a heart patient. If you're gaining 2-3 pounds in one day, that's an alarm for a patient, and they want to know basically that could be fluid retention, and you don't want that, because then you're pretty much back where you were, square one, where you had this fluid all around the heart and the lungs. These are very important things. You don't want, limb extremities being swollen, and that's important with these scales. They tell you that, hey, you're overweight or you're losing weight, whatever. It's very important to have. It's kind of an obvious thing, but it's also something that people may not even look to getting. They just look at themselves, but I think it's very important to have the scale. This would be great for logging with your actual numbers that you check, your return to flows and things like that. Something to check every day. So now we're down to the last two items that are on the most, what I consider the most important. Sorry for the noise. But here's the one that kind of is very cheap to get and very useful, and that's an alcohol swab. Oh man, let's see if I can get that focused. An alcohol swab. I got these from Walmart for like a couple of dollars. They weren't expensive. They were great to get. Why did I use these? Well, back in the day I had these when I had a PICC line, and I had to put that on my arm, and then we had to clean off the actual site when you had to clean that. Well, they actually became very helpful because I didn't know I needed them, but I would recommend getting them. Very cheap to get. When you're cleaning your site, it comes with a pack, and it has a lot of things already in it. It has alcohol swabs, it has adhesive remover, it has all these different things. Well, sometimes you can get very dirty, especially if you're a busy person like myself. The site can get dirty, and it may need to be cleaned. So I would totally recommend getting these alcohol swabs, because it's only gonna have like, 1 or 2 in there. You may need more. Always having these extra on site, instead of having to go in and open up another bag, I would just go ahead and get a bunch of these. They're very cheap to have, and they're little square tiles, and they get the job done. I would totally recommend that. You can get that at Walmart, Walgreens, whatever. They're just alcohol swabs. Nothing picky, all right? The last thing that's on my list, and this is an obvious thing, but also maybe not as obvious, because we tend to, since our regular, let's just get into it. The last one, and that's bags, all right? This is an obvious thing. You need a bag, right? Well, you may not need a bag. You may have a vest, but if you have a bag, I think getting a bag is very important, even if you just use the vest, because the bag is great to have. It's a little more mobile. It's not as much as carrying around. I've talked to some elder gentlemen and they don't like the actual, you know, the weights of it, but I'm used to it. It's not a problem at all. I would totally recommend that because of the fact that these bags are very easy to carry around, in my opinion. But they are not as durable as they should be, okay? Some of these. So the ones I have, for example, well, that's actually pretty durable. I wear it every day and it broke. I think every single one I've had broke within a year. So about once a year I have to replace these bags, and I have this backup bag in the meantime. So whenever I have one coming in on the mail, I need to go out, right? So what do? I just pull out my backup bag and I just wear that, and it's always my backup bag. It's not my everyday bag, it's just my backup bag. I totally recommend having these backup bags because you need to go out, and when the bag breaks and you can't go somewhere, you're in trouble. You know, then you got to go to the, in my case, I don't like wearing a vest. It's very intimidating for people. They're gonna look at me weird. I don't like being stared at. I have no problem being in front of people, I just don't like being stared at. So I would totally recommend getting an extra bag. So guys, those are my 10 things. All those things will be in the description below, at least most of them. If not, a description of what they are will be in the description below. And if you have any questions and, you know, maybe any recommendations on what I should look into, please let me know. I'm all for it. Also, maybe an honorable mention would be girdles. Girdles, because I've remembered some people were pointing out the football girdles. If you buy those at Dick's or whatever during football season, you can buy them on Amazon, get them your size. I don't know how the sizing works, so kind of do your research. But you can take the actual batteries and put them into where the football pads are, and you can wear them with shorts or pants, you know, and wear them under your jeans. You're not wearing them out and about, and you kind of look normal, you know what I mean? But I like to wear my clothes a little more tight fitted, so I can't wear those things. That's why I wear a bag. Total recommendation, and I've heard people recommend those a lot. Seen those at a couple, what's it called, self-help groups with LVAD patients. I've seen a lot of vests with the baggy shirts, and I've seen a lot of girdles, which I've seen are pretty neat, but just not my cup of tea. So guys, that's my video. Like I said, everything will be in the description below. If you got this far, please like and subscribe. It really do help. Whenever you're watching my videos, please, endure the ads. It's only like 6 seconds, 10 seconds, maybe sometimes 15, but that's how I get my money. It does help me out a lot. I really do appreciate you guys so much. If this helped you guys out, please let me know. And if you have any recommendations on your own things, please let me know in the in the comments below, and I'll look up those things and talk about them. I want to thank you guys so much. You guys are the best. Always, logging on the YouTube and actually checking me out. It's a true blessing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.